Dogs. They really are man's best friend. The majestic embodiment of love and devotion. They cheer us up when we're sad, protect us when we're vulnerable, and offer us limitless unconditional love. But as amazing as these creatures are, instead of hiking with their owner or snoozing by the fireplace, more and more of them are finding themselves deteriorating inside of a kennel in a shelter that they may never leave. There are many reasons why dogs become homeless, but one big one that repeatedly emerges is being brought into a home that's simply not compatible. In today's video, we'll be discussing some important factors to consider when you're deciding which dog is right for you. So without further ado, let's dive right in. The gray wolf. Every dog can trace its lineage back to these magnificent predators. Thousands of years of selective breeding produced a stunning array of diversity. Some dogs retained a striking resemblance to their wild counterparts, while others, not so much. Throughout the vast majority of the dog-human partnership, dogs were bred to perform crucial jobs. They were tasked with protecting our homes and families, they guarded our livestock, and they helped us hunt. As civilization advanced and became increasingly industrialized, the need for working dogs diminished in many parts of the world. In the US, the role of dogs overwhelmingly shifted towards companionship, shifting our demands and expectations along with it. From roaming vast swaths of land guarding us from intruders, to being squeezed into a small area expected to accept all of our dinner guests. In some cases, we diligently bred dogs to accommodate these evolving demands, but many others were left unprepared. The very attributes that we sought out in the past became a major impediment for dogs in modern society. But there is good news. For most dogs, there's a compatible home out there. The tricky part is finding it. And because we can't count on dogs to articulate their needs, it's up to us as responsible dog owners to make thoughtful and informed decisions when selecting our dogs. So where do we start? Well, the first thing you should assess is your environment. This should include the size of your living area, outdoor accommodations, proximity to your neighbors, and all the residents, human and animal. The living space should have enough room that the dog and all the other residents can comfortably move around each other. There should also be a quiet space where the dog can go and be left alone if it so chooses. The smaller the dog, the easier this task becomes. If you have multiple animals, make sure they each have a quiet place to enjoy their meals and their treats without feeling bothered by one another. Think about your outdoor arrangements. Dogs need to go outside multiple times a day. Do you have a yard where the dog can eliminate, or will you be taking them on walks? If it's the latter, how densely populated is your route? Will you encounter a lot of people and dogs on a regular basis? Leash reactivity is a very common problem, and in some cases can get so severe that it becomes extremely difficult to take the dog out in public. It's not always easy to predict which dogs are going to have this problem, so prepare in advance. Like any other behavior problem, this will likely get worse over time if not properly addressed. Be prepared to hire a knowledgeable dog trainer right away if you begin to have these issues. Failing to do so early on or trying to resolve the problem yourself can result in a consistently worsening dynamic, which can create dangerous situations and ultimately force you to get rid of the dog. Next, how busy is the traffic in and out of your home? Do you enjoy having frequent visitors over? Do your kids have friends that randomly visit? Many dogs love meeting new people, but some can get insecure about having strangers coming into their home. If you live in a high-traffic household, make sure you get a dog that's confident and eager to make friends with new people. Again, it can sometimes be difficult to predict if your dog will have this problem, so be prepared to contact a trainer at the first sign of concern. This next one is extremely important, especially if you plan to have the dog around small kids. Dogs don't display their affection the same way that humans do, and many of our gestures can be unpleasant or threatening to a dog. Something as benign as a hug can cause many dogs to get uncomfortable. Dogs convey their displeasure primarily through body language. When the more subtle signs get ignored, dogs are forced to escalate their responses. These can range from growling, lunging, all the way to biting. These scenarios are often misunderstood, and dogs frequently get punished for what they perceive to be self-defense. This only vindicates the dog's fears and can rapidly make the problem much worse. If you plan to have small kids around the dog, it's critical that the dog is comfortable with unpleasant handling, restraint, fast movement, loud noises, and any other excesses they might encounter in that situation. The next thing to consider is your lifestyle. Are you an active person planning to take your dog on walks, jogs, hikes, and play dates, or do you prefer to spend your downtime at home reading a book? Certain breeds, as well as most younger dogs, will have an abundance of energy, requiring a productive outlet. Failure to provide that can cause restlessness and anxiety, which can lead to a number of unwanted behaviors. Herding dogs, for example, such as shepherds and cattle dogs, were bred to perform complex and demanding tasks for prolonged periods of time. In order to satisfy those drives, these dogs require a lot of mental stimulation in addition to ample physical exercise. While an English Mastiff might be satisfied with a daily 40-minute walk, a Border Collie will likely need more than that to be content. Much like humans, dogs tend to be more energetic in their early years and tend to settle down as time goes by. If you live a quiet, sedentary lifestyle, it might be a good idea to choose an older dog that appreciates quiet time just as much as you do. Speaking of time, you should consider how much time you realistically have to devote to your new dog. On average, puppies will require you to devote more time to them than adult dogs. They will require more time for potty breaks, house training, leash training, and socializing. Some adult dogs can also fall into that category if they've had limited experiences living in an environment that resembles yours. There are many older and more low-key dogs that would happily snooze away on the couch for most of the day. If you have a rigorous work schedule or other time-consuming obligations, consider adopting one of the many couch potatoes looking for a home. If you're someone who travels a lot, be thorough and pre-plan. If you'll be relying on friends or family to take care of the dog in your absence, make sure that their home environment is also compatible with your dog. For example, if they have a cat and your dog has a strong prey drive, this may not be a viable option. Try letting them watch the dog in advance to identify any potential problems prior to your scheduled departure. Likewise, if you'll be boarding your dog at a facility, do some dry runs first. Leave the dog there for a day or two to see if they encounter any unexpected issues. This will also make the place more familiar to the dog and reduce some of the anxiety when the dog is left there for longer periods. If you plan on taking your dog with you, make sure that they're comfortable traveling. Not all dogs do well on long road trips or flights, so don't just assume that your dog will be an easy travel companion. Failing to sort out these issues ahead of time can create a very serious predicament and leave you having to make a difficult decision. Finally, before you decide to bring a dog into your home, do as much research as possible. If you have a breed in mind, learn about their specific needs, characteristics, and predispositions. Even if you've owned the breed before, it does not mean that your next dog will behave the same way as your last one. People frequently underestimate the vast landscape of dog behavior, leading them into a spiral of unforced errors and resulting in tragic outcomes that can often be avoided. Perhaps the most crucial preparation you can make is deciding that you will honor your commitment to the dog no matter what. Dogs don't get to decide what homes they go to or what circumstances they will face. We determine every aspect of their lives and they wholly depend on us to make good decisions. It's on us to make sure that we do right by them by being responsible, thoughtful, and proactive. Most shelters and rescues are stretched beyond their limits. With adoptions plummeting and intakes skyrocketing, many are forced to make heartbreaking decisions on a regular basis. This growing epidemic can only be reversed if enough of us commit to doing our part. The more people that we can educate, the less dogs will have to needlessly suffer. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, and hit the like button.